guys, welcome back to our channel. Yesi here, and this is the Soul Sisters channel. So when I do have it on, I figure there's a really loud car outside. I wonder if it comes up on camera. If that doesn't show up on camera, I don't know how it wouldn't. It's so loud. People are really annoying. Y'all need to stop with that. I don't need to hear what you're listening to in your car. It's obnoxious and it's rude. So I figured I'd just jump on and kind of talk about my wedding planning journey so far. Where I'm at in the process, how did I get here, and what are my tips for wedding planning, like your first steps once you're engaged and you decide to have a wedding. I think that's the first step, to be honest, is decide if you want a wedding or not. Do you want to spend that much money? It is very difficult to plan a wedding on a tight budget. To be honest, you can do it. However, you'd have to make your guest list very small, because even in a venue that is low budget or free, even like a home, someone else's home, your own home, you can't fit 100, 120, 140 people in a home. You know, it just isn't really comfortable for anyone or feasible. So you really have to limit your guest list if you're gonna have a very low budget wedding. So yeah, that's my first basically bit of advice, is decide if you want a wedding or not. And if you're willing to spend a good amount of coin on one day. I personally don't need one, didn't want one, but my fiance Brett did really want to have a wedding for his friends and family to come and celebrate us. And to be honest, weddings are not only for the bride. Even though people assume that weddings are always a bride's idea and that the bride is always the one that pushes for a wedding and for everything, it's not really true. A lot of times the men do really want a wedding as well, and in my case, that's what happened. And so we decided to have one and make it as small as possible for the budget. Basically budgeting, I'm honestly not putting in very much money at all of my own. I just don't have that sort of money. My family doesn't have that sort of money. We come from an immigrant family. I was raised by my grandparents, which are retired, and you know, we just don't have that. Brett, on the other hand, his family does have a little bit more that they can contribute, and so does he in terms of savings. So he and his parents have decided to go half and half on the cost of the wedding. My costs are basically just going to be my wedding dress, because no one has offered to help me pay for it. So it's going to be just me paying for my dress. And if I have the ability to, I would basically just start shopping here and there for like decor and party favors and things like that. I would contribute money wherever I can, but it really isn't my focus. It's not, I'm not planning to budget around it. If I have a little extra that I'm willing to spare, I might do so, but it's not, this wedding is not really for me. Even though it is at the end, it's not really for me, it's more for him, and I'm giving him a lot of freedom with it because of that. However, our guest list is very limited, as regardless of who's paying for what, I don't want to have a huge wedding with people that I don't know. Personally, if I really don't know the people, whether they're family or not, I don't think they should be there. So the first thing you really need to do once you decide that you are going to have a wedding is kind of side by side choose these next two things, which is your guest list and your budget. So you kind of have to do both at the same time, because you have to sometimes build your guest list around your budget. You can't really plan a $5,000–$10,000 wedding around 200 people, a guest list that's 200 people long. It just, no, like it's not feasible, it just isn't. So make sure that once you know how much you are going to be able to spend or have an idea, that you design your guest list around that. or design your budget around your guest list if you don't really want to limit that. It's really up to you, but you have to make sure that you make the right decision for you. And so our guest list right now is only 70 people. It's pretty much just our closest family, our closest friends, and a few really good coworkers that we consider friends as well. And so because of this, we actually have a little bit more wiggle room to get maybe even what some would consider a slightly more expensive venue, just because our guest list is so small that even though it's a venue that would cost maybe 30 grand for a 150 person wedding, it'll only cost us 10 to 15 for a 70 person wedding. And that kind of is a great way to kind of think about it as well, is that you really open your options up the more you limit your guest list, because you'll have the ability to afford more. Okay, so that's the first two things on my list. Let me check the next one in my handy dandy notebook. So first things, guest list, check, done. I made a spreadsheet of my guest list and I put basically the guest's name, their +1. So if it's couples, I put just one couple, one person's name on one side, their couple or like their significant other on the other. And then basically just tallied up at the end how many guests are included in that party. I also added columns, I think, for children. So basically, that way once I add up all the numbers on the column, I would know how many guests I have. So right now I have, I believe, 34 on my list, and Brett has 36 on his list, which equals 70. There's room for changes, tweaks here and there. I think still we probably won't be doing it anything more than 75 to 80. So yeah. Another thing is that including in the topic of budget for the first 2 points is, I may have touched base on this already, I don't remember. But anyway, one thing that's important when deciding your budget is making sure that if you know or think that someone's going to help you pay for your wedding, that you touch base with them. Touch base with them, ask them, well, you know, how much, what's a number, because you don't want to plan for too much and expect too much of that person, or limit yourself if they are willing to give you more than you expected. Just, you know, communicate. The third item, once you have your guest list and your budget, is to choose a date or a date range. Around what time and what year do you plan on getting married? For me, it was ideal to plan my wedding around my honeymoon. I want to go to Italy for my honeymoon, and I want it to be the most ideal time of the year. There are a couple of times of the year when it's ideal, but we decided to pick June, either end of May or early June. Right now we're set at either June 1st or June 2nd of 2019, which is a Saturday or Sunday. And yeah, once you have your date, then you can go to my point number 4, which is your venue. You have to know your date for the venues, because they're gonna ask for your date, they're gonna ask for your guest amount. So it's really important that you have these two things before you start looking at venues, because it could affect the possibility of using that venue. If you really, really, really want to stick to a specific date, that venue might not have it available anymore. So for example, for us, we're not super strict. It could be a week off, it could be a week on. We know it's a popular time of the year. It's not something that we're super strict about, but we know that it's going to be next summer in June or thereabout. So we went with June 1st because it's a really nice number on a Saturday, or June 2nd because I also love even numbers. And then once you decide, you know, your budget and your guest list, you can go on and start searching for venues. Places that we looked for venues were a lot of the wedding websites online, like The Knot, Wedding Wire, Wedding Spot, things like that. A lot of them were really good because they would give you budgets or like example like costs for venues. And I do believe we found all of our venues on either one of those sites or like Google articles about affordable or small wedding venues. And so some of the venues that we went to look at in the New Jersey area, if you're interested, are the Blooming Hill Farm in New York, close-ish to the Poughkeepsie area, but on the left side of the river, or the western side of the river. It was a beautiful venue. It's a working farm. They do all the food and everything there. It was very unique and different. However, I will say it came out to be quite pricey at about $228 per person per head for our guest list of 70 people. So just throwing that out there. The second venue that we looked at was actually a slightly more affordable venue called the James Ward Mansion in Westfield, New Jersey. It is very unique. It looks kind of like a French Quarter building on the outside, and being that, you know, we did get engaged in New Orleans, it is, as of now, still a bit of a contender, although I do think another one is going to win. Then we took a day off to go look at 3 venues in one day. The first one that we looked at was it's called Jack's Barn. It's a beautiful barn venue with mood lighting and just really rustic and just cute. It has a nice little outdoor ceremony space with a log, like, what are those things called? Like arch, the wedding arch things. I'm blanking. Maybe I'll put it down here. I don't know. But anyway, those things. And it was just really magical and beautiful, and we love that venue. And right now we're stuck between that one and the James Ward Mansion, but Brett really, really likes Jack's Barn, and we're probably gonna go with that. And then the next venue we looked at was Beneducci Vineyards in, I believe, Pittstown, New Jersey. It was also really beautiful on the outside. I had a glass of rosé. It was delicious. So the wine is great. However, the venue, like the event space itself, is kind of, it looks sort of like a greenhouse, and there's no air conditioning. Just fans that circulate air, and personally, Brett is the type of person that gets hot very easily. I also get hot very easily, and it's just not comfortable for a bride to be hot on her wedding day, things like that. So that was just, we exited out, especially for a June wedding. It's very important that our venues have air conditioning, which the barn does have air conditioning. And just in case you guys were wondering, because it was a barn, it does have heating and air conditioning. And then the last venue we looked at was the Stay-In House and Botanical Gardens in, I believe, Hamilton, New Jersey. And that was a beautiful, like, just stunning venue for pictures. Their botanical garden spaces are just so pretty. Their ceremony space, it was called the Temple Gardens, was gorgeous. It was really beautiful. However, the event space is a house, and so it could be a little bit chopped up as all the tables are set up in different rooms in the house, and it kind of goes into in a U with the dance floor space in the middle of the house. So it really is a venue that's unique and different, and it just depends on the person. Brett did not really appreciate that chopped up feel. I personally didn't mind it, but of course I preferred the James Ward Mansion and the Jack's Barn. So there's that. Anyway, so we're basically just, you know, at that point where we're right now just trying to decide between a venue. Once we have the venue set in stone with a date, that's when we can move on to next steps, like wedding invitations and decor and DJ, photographer, vendors, things like that, which I will be updating you guys soon or not soon, eventually. I don't know, but yeah, I will definitely bring you guys along on this journey as much as I can. and fill you in, but up until now, that's where we are with our wedding planning. I just thought I'd share with you guys and let you know. If you liked this video, please make sure to hit the thumbs up, the like button down below. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you know every time we upload a new video and things like that, with the bell button and all that jazz. And I will see you guys in our next video. Bye guys. So,
no breath.
Okay.